Hello, welcome back to the Spiritual View. Today we've decided to talk about nutrition and ways you can use nutrition to raise your intuition, raise your vibration, and how to eat consciously.
I'm Christina. I'm Bisma.
I'm Christine.
And I'm Carlene. There are some really great nutritionists out there. I've studied Eastern nutrition and also some Western. But what really has, resonated really deeply and has answered a lot of the questions where it's left things, kind of like as a mystery. For me, has been a really great author, personality, Anthony Williams, who is also the medical medium. So if you've heard about any of his stuff, you might definitely want to check out his book. He also has a really great collection of talks that he does on various subjects on SoundCloud. You can check those out, and also on Hay House. I think he's got 3 of his books published through Hay House, and he also has a blog on there. So a lot of information out there. I've noticed in myself a huge change after reading his books. And I can really see how a lot of the things that he says makes so much sense in the realm of blaming a lot of things right now on people's immune system fighting their own body. Like, that is a fallacy, apparently, that, our bodies are not trying to do us in. They are our friends, they're fighting for us and they're working really hard for us. So some of the things that he says in terms of what's really important is our liver. It's kind of like the filter of your whole body. So if you don't take care of your liver, then everything else kind of falls apart down the line. It's going to affect your kidneys, your lungs, and then a lot of other issues are going to come up. So it's really important to take care of your liver, which means eating very cleanly. Things that bog down the liver are excessive fats. So you don't want to overdo it on fried foods, or canola oil is really inflammatory for the body. So if you're cooking with that, try something else.
Coconut oil.
Coconut oil is fantastic. It has really great healing properties as well. So you might want to try that instead.
It's like sesame oil.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of avocado oil. Yeah.
And, I loved butter. And I now make my own vegan butter, and it tastes like regular butter. I swear.
Give me the recipe for that.
Yeah, I can. And it uses cashew milk and coconut oil. And you kind of curdle the cashew milk with a little bit of coconut vinegar and apple cider vinegar. And it tastes so much like butter.
I've been eating ghee. Ghee, which is just basically clarified butter, which is like, I guess you could do at home, but I was like buying it at the store for more money. I guess you just cook it down and cook it down.
I will give you the recipe.
Put it through a cheesecloth, right? Yeah. It helps get the fat,
the milk solids out of the fat. But apparently
still
to him he says like any
fat.
Yeah, it's still an animal fat. You do want to reduce the amount of fats that you're eating, and you want to increase the amount of fruits and vegetables as much as possible, because those are really full of nutrients that your body needs. It's also full of life
force.
Yes. And it's also going to do a lot of great things in terms of the fiber that they have in cleaning out your system. So fruits and vegetables, I always start off my morning with a smoothie. He has a detox smoothie. This is medical medium, where you combine some. He says that this is the resurrection food is wild blueberries, because they're able to survive all sorts of like fires. They come up even stronger, like extremes of temperature. So it has in its genetic blueprint the ability to like do so much.
It's
for us.
antioxidant for you, right?
Exactly.
So it detoxes.
And it's different from regular blueberries, he says.
And they're a lot smaller.
If they're
too.
organic, though,
Yeah.
they're different.
Well,
No.
these are wild
They're
blueberries.
just
What is the? I don't
Wild
understand.
blueberries are
They're
these
tiny.
little tiny.
I have a whole bunch in my freezer. I'll show you.
Yeah.
I didn't even know these existed. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought you were just talking about blueberries.
No, these are wild
And
blueberries.
they actually taste a lot better too. They're more flavorful.
Yes.
My kid loves blueberries.
Yeah, so these wild blueberries, find them in your freezer section of your grocery store. Put them in smoothies. They're delicious. Bananas, I put that in there too. And a couple supplements that are really great. The first one is Hawaiian Spirulina. He says that if you take a multivitamin, don't. Instead, spirulina is like the multivitamin. It will give you everything that you need, and it would also help in terms of detoxing from heavy metals, which are everywhere
Yeah.
in our environment, unfortunately.
In our pans.
Yeah. So, you know, we use a lot of pesticides and things are sprayed all over the place, and even in our clothing, you know, when they make the fibers for cotton or whatever, it's just everywhere. So you want to constantly try to detox it because it is a heavy load for our bodies.
And that's what the liver does, right? It helps to detox all.
Yeah, and if you're bogging it down with a lot of fat, then it's doing the work of trying to clear that fat rather than like working on the toxins that are really in your body. So that's the reason why you want to cut down your fat. And add things like the barley grass juice powder. So barley grass juice powder is also really great at taking out the heavy metals in your body, as well as cilantro. And he says that there's the water within the cilantro plant, so you can't use the dried cilantro. The water has the ability to really take out mercury from our system. So that's another one to incorporate.
That's funny. My inner healer had like come to me like over and over again with cilantro and parsley.
Yeah.
And it was like the message was like clean your blood is what I kept getting.
So for people that hate cilantro,
Aww.
I hate cilantro. So
Is it because it tastes?
the taste? I don't know. It just I can have little tiny bits of it like in a salsa or something, but I can taste it and I know it's there, even if it's a minute amount. But I just can't. It just changes the taste of everything for me. It's a taste thing. They say you either love it or you hate it.
Well, they also say that the people who have a really adverse taste reaction to it are people who have a lot of
Probably.
because they have heavy metals in their, and it's basically like that's
That's
their
what
reaction.
The metals are
So what can I use that doesn't taste like cilantro that I can still get,
So the spirulina is
Okay.
really great, as well as the barley grass seed powder, and for sure the blueberries help.
Yeah.
And like you said, parsley is also amazing. So
Well, I like parsley, so I'm good.
yes, do
Sounds
what you
good.
can. He also says that celery juice, there are so many minerals in it that are so good for your body and building up the hydrochloric acid within your gut. So if you're having any issues, you want to start off with doing that first thing in the morning, juicing some celery, and drinking that straight.
Wait, I have a question.
Yeah.
So as far as the liver goes, I have done like detoxing, juicing before, and there was a lot of beets and dandelion roots, ginger, lemon. What else was in it? Are those things good for detoxing the liver too? Do you recommend that?
They are. He doesn't go too much into beets because there's a lot of stuff happening with our beets in terms of GMO. But, like dandelion root is really great. Have that. Burdock root is another one that's really great for the liver. These are things you can use as a tea. But you still want to, our body basically runs on sugar, believe it or not. And you want the good kind of sugar, the fruit sugars, the vegetable sugars, the sugars from honey or maple syrup.
But like I juiced a beet and I felt kind of sick afterward.
That happens with beets, especially. Like I've done it before, and it hurts.
Yeah.
So if you do juice beets, for some people, mix it with a lot of other things.
I mean, I even did
vegetables.
like half a beet. I didn't do a whole beet because it was like saying that if you're not used to it, do a smaller amount.
Even with celery juice, my dad had a really strong reaction to it. But it's because if you have a really strong reaction to it, you have a lot of
the toxins coming out.
Toxins. It actually, he says that it has the ability to burst the outer casing of like viruses. So
I've heard about that.
Yeah. So
there's like science about that too.
Powerful stuff. So you might, if you have a huge overgrowth or even like viruses are just rampant, you might want to take the detoxing slowly to build yourself up, because when they have a die-off, you kind of have an adverse reaction. So you might actually get a little worse, or your symptoms might get a little worse before they get better, but that's because they're dying off.
That's good to know.
So
it's just like when you get energy healing, you kind of feel okay afterwards because you're like detoxing. Your body has to detox, it has to get rid of it first.
Yeah.
And you can help with drinking a lot of water. So drinking a lot of water when you're doing this detoxing is essential. Otherwise, you're just reabsorbing it and your digestive tract.
Squeeze a little bit of lemon juice in your water, because that really also, the liver loves that. So lemon water, drinking even cucumber juice if you can't do celery juice. That's a little bit more mild way, but still does.
What about just slicing cucumber and soaking it in water? Is there a difference between drinking?
Well, you're really getting something more concentrated when you juice it.
Okay.
But you can also just, eat cucumbers. I mean, but you're going to get a lot more cucumbers into your body if you juice it. We can eat, like my husband and I can go through a whole stocking and a half of celery in the morning if we juice it. Now, if we tried to just eat all those stalks, it would probably take a lot longer. So that's kind of the reason why we do juicing, is to get a lot more of those. I mean, if you think about how many years you've eaten wrongly and how much catching up you have to do in terms of nutrition, that's the reason why we have to do these kind of like extreme juicing or taking supplements even. And he does have a bunch of supplements that he does recommend. He's not endorsed or funded by any interest groups or any major studies or anything. He has a spirit that basically is giving him this information, and he has been getting this information since he was a very young child. So a lot of the stuff he says, says that we won't really discover for many more years, but he's making this available so that we don't have to suffer all that time. There's just too many ailments where you can go to the doctor nowadays and they will say that, I'm sorry, this is, you're
incurable.
We don't have a reason. Your body is attacking itself. All these really,
it's because the causes are not just physical.
They just don't know. They don't know yet. And so we're left to suffer. But, go check out his book. His second book is about all the fruits and vegetables and what they can do, and also the emotional things. Like oranges, they're great for bringing uplifting your emotional state. So if you need more sunshine in your life, eat more oranges. So so much good information.
I don't know why I feel called to talk about something that I feel like you guys will know more about, but I don't know, I either read about it or saw a documentary about it where they were saying that they've studied certain bacteria and viruses that kind of control our cravings. There was a study done where they exposed mice to cats, or what is that bacteria that's in their fecal matter that's really dangerous for pregnant women. Anyway, mice that were exposed to that bacteria would approach a cat, whereas mice that had not been exposed to that bacteria were naturally afraid of the cat because it's a predator. But it's the bacteria within them that was controlling their behavior. That bacteria makes the mouse want to approach the cat. It's like, so the cat produces bacteria that then is exposing to her prey that makes them fearless of her.
Oh yeah,
So
there's
weird.
so many really interesting stories. I mean, I don't know if you've heard about cordyceps, but cordyceps is this supplement, but it's kind of like a fungus that used to be a caterpillar. So there's this caterpillar, and it gets infected by this fungus, and this fungus makes the caterpillar go up a certain place, and then all of a sudden the fungus shoots out of its head and takes over. So it and then it turns the whole caterpillar into a mushroom.
Wow.
So it controls it, So if you think about, I mean, if you have children, you probably know that if you feed them certain foods, they have certain reactions, right? And their personalities change. Some of that personality change is from, like certain organisms that want certain things, and if they don't get it, then they make you feel bad and you get cranky. So,
like there's I think it was a documentary that I saw. I wish I could remember the name of it, but it was talking about how our mood and like our equilibrium was being affected by these what they were saying are external bacteria and stuff, which I think that it's all supposed to be within us. It just acts one way or another depending on where our homeostasis is. If we're stressed, it can trigger a lot of things to go wrong that were already there. Like there's some people that believe that we have cancer cells in our body all the time. It's just a matter of whether we've triggered a stressful response to make it go out of control or not. And so a lot of these foreign things that are entering our body, as we see in our Western medical model, we see them as attacking our body, whereas some other people prescribe to, these are part of us. This is something we need to accept, and that it's just responding to something that we are out of homeostasis towards. And it's more about getting back in alignment to heal those parts of ourselves and accept and love those parts of ourselves instead of rejecting them.
So he says that a lot of the cancers and things, and a lot of things that, diseases are rooted in viruses that are basically lying dormant in parts of our bodies and our organs. So if you've ever had mono or chickenpox or any of those, there's so many more varieties of these viruses that we haven't discovered yet, and they're just basically hiding, and they go through different phases, and as they get stronger, they basically feed off of certain things, and that's heavy metals, which is why we want to do the detox. They also feed off of he says hormones. So that's why people with women, when you have your menstrual cycle, you feel PMS and like horrible at certain times. It's because your hormones are shifting and you've got a surge of it, and so the virus gets an upper hand. So you want to cut out things that are full of hormones, like eggs and dairy.
And cosmetic products that have pseudoestrogens in them.
Right, and if you're going through a stressful period of time in your life, you're going to have those
triggered responses.
Right, and that's going to be feeding the virus, and your immune system's going to go down at the same time. So I know people who right before they're getting their menstrual cycle, they'll catch a cold, and that's your immune system going down as your hormone levels are shifting and the virus is kind of getting a little bit of an upper hand there. So you want to be good to yourself. You want to get adequate sleep. You want to eat water. Yeah, you want to eat clean, unprocessed foods.
The fiber, which helps to release, collect and release the toxins out of your body through your digestive system.
Genetically modified stuff, I know it's a big hot topic right now.
Yeah.
But even Whole Foods and places that supposedly carry, more organic and, fresher things, they're starting to introduce apples and potatoes and corn and different things that have GMOs in them. And so even when I go to the store now, I ask because they don't have clear labels. They have to tell you, hopefully. just when I go to the grocery store, it's probably like 80% fresh food and like 20%, like not necessarily processed, but like grains and like cereal or that kind of thing. And just try and keep the freshness in the food as much as possible. Farm to table, local farmers markets, like really try and
grow your own.
Yeah, just really, and I mean, it's not only is that like healthier for you physically, but it's also mentally really, really helpful. Like when you're gardening and stuff, it's a type of meditation, grounding.
He says that the vegetables or whatever you're growing actually will modify themselves to your needs. So when you grow them, they will change. That you have a two-way conversation with the plant.
Oh yeah. So we also were wanting to talk about how you can say a prayer or bless your food.
Gratitude.
There's actually studies that show molecular and energetic changes in food and water after they've been blessed. I don't know if you've ever heard of Dr.Emoto's work, like his whole water studies about like labeling them with words that were positive or negative, and then analyzing the structure of the water and see how they change. They're clearly organized and symmetrical when there's like positive words on them, but they're just disorganized and chaotic looking when there's words that are negative on them. And so the words we use, the thoughts we're having while we're eating, are actually affecting your food.
The vibration of it affects your food.
So if you go out with your girlfriends and you're just complaining about life and eating your food, you're actually like kind of taking that into your body. So that's something I didn't know about until, I started getting into Reiki, and I really started to learn more about how our intention and our thoughts affect matter. And now when I eat, I try to be more mindful and in the process and enjoying it. And just, I'll say a little prayer before I eat it. And so the prayer will be something like, may I restore this food to its full nutritional potential for my highest good while I eat it, and may it work for me in my highest and best way, or something like that, because you can send an intention to restore food to its highest potential. May this food be detoxified as much as possible before I ingest it, or you can say all kinds of different prayers. May this food help me to be happy, whatever your intention is. But you can do that. Yeah.
Another thing is, just lost my train of thought. Oh, never mind.
It'll come back to you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you can start slowly. Like you can start incorporating one thing in your diet. If like this seems overwhelming, like you can start with a smoothie in the morning, or starting to incorporate fruit. And you'll notice that the more you do that, your body naturally will want to eat more of those foods, because it knows that your body's highly intelligent, and it knows that that food gives it all the optimum nutrition. And basically that's what our body craves. And that's what Carlene was saying earlier, that our bodies have been so deprived, most of us have been so deprived of this optimum nutrition, that now it's like time to like come and restore like all of what I guess maybe
I think what we'll set the intention to post the recipe for your smoothie on our Facebook.
Oh, sure.
Because that would be really good to share. And then also, wasn't there another recipe you were talking about?
The butter.
The butter. Yes, the cashew,
I want
coconut oil, coconut vinegar. I want to see that too, so that everyone can play around with that. That'd be great.
So be kind to yourself. Start slowly if it seems overwhelming, and you'll notice that you'll want to eat more, healthy, and you'll intuitively know what you want to eat and what you don't want to eat. So.
I feel like that's the other little part we should say, is that when you're doing conscious eating, paying attention, like being really conscious of how you feel after you eat foods, and pay attention to what your body's yearning for and what your body isn't wanting anymore. And just tuning in to how are you feeling. Sometimes people will keep like a food log and follow, after I eat gluten, I feel this way all the time. Maybe I have something with this. And just kind of tying the points together and realizing that Certain foods may be making you feel sluggish, or certain foods may be making you feel, inflamed or whatever. And kind of following that and listening and honoring your body and treating it as the sacred temple that it is for you, and treating it well because it does a lot for you.
And if you're psychically trying to develop, it's really important to pay attention to your body and your health, because that'll definitely make a difference. I don't want to say in the speed of your development, because you're going to develop at this pace that you're supposed to develop at. But the clarity maybe is the word I'm looking for. Like I noticed definitely when I'm practicing or meditating or doing any of these things, I feel like my clarity is so much brighter and crystal clear when I'm eating well. Like if I'm menstruating or something, like I might be craving certain things, and then whatever things happen. But so I'm not at my best, but I definitely can tell the difference, and I acknowledge it, and I'm aware of it, and I keep track of it, and I'm trying to be as conscious as I can about it. I'm not perfect, but just to try and live a conscious life and be mindful of what you're putting in your body so that you can get the most out of your life. Yeah. So we hope that this has really helped.
I feel like we could do a whole other
of
episode
course,
about
this
this.
can go on and on and on.
It's a really
There's a lot to
deep
learn.
topic.
And once you start digging into it and you start learning more, you just want to keep going. So just starting with little tidbits that we've talked about in this video, hopefully it'll just pique your curiosity and you'll get out there and you'll learn. There's so much to learn. Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll see you next time.
Bye.